In the previous discussion, we discussed about the president, its qualification, and the election procedure of the president. Now, let us see what are the different powers that presidents are having. Powers of the president includes the executive power, legislative power, financial power, judicial power, diplomatic power, military, and the emergency power. Along with that, one more power that president is having, that is veto power of the president. So let us see each and every power in detail. Executive power. The executive powers and the function of the presidents are: all executive action of the government of India are formally taken in his name. He can make the rule specifying the manner in which the order and other instrument made and executed in his name shall be authenticated. He can make a rule for more convenient transaction of business of the union government and for allocation of said business among the ministers. He appoints the prime minister and other ministers. They hold the office during his pleasure. He appoints the Attorney General of India and determines his remuneration. The Attorney General holds the office during the pleasure of the President. He appoints the Comptroller and the Auditor General of India. The Chief Election Commissioner and the other election commissioner, the chairman and the member of Union Public Service Commission, the governor of the state, the chairman and member of finance minister, and so on. So from this we came to know that these are the different members, chairmans, commissioner are appointed by even the prime minister is also appointed by the president. Along with that, the several other powers are: he can seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the union and proposal for legislation for the prime minister. He can require the prime minister to submit for consideration of council of minister any matter on which decision has been taken by the minister but which has not been considered by the council. He can appoint a commission to investigate into 10 the condition of SC, ST and other backward classes. He can appoint an interstate council to promote center-state and interstate cooperation. He directly administers the union territories through the administrators appointed by him. He can declare any areas as a scheduled area and has a power with respect to the administration of the scheduled area and the tribal areas. So these are the certain administrative related powers that the president is having. Let us see the legislative powers. He can summon and prorogue the parliament and dissolve the Lok Sabha. So it is clear that the president is having the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha also. He can also summons a joint sitting of both the houses of parliament. Both the houses means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which is presided over by speakers of the Lok Sabha. He can address the parliament at the commencement of the first session after each general election and the first session of each year. He can send the message to the House of the Parliament whether with respect to a bill pending in the Parliament or otherwise. He can appoint any member of Lok Sabha to preside over its proceeding when the office of the both speaker and the deputy speaker fall vacant. So when the place, or we can say the seat of the speaker and deputy speaker is vacant, in that case the president is having the power to appoint a person to preside the proceeding. Similarly, he can also appoint any member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over its proceeding when the office of both the chairman and deputy chairman fall vacant. He nominates 12 members of the Rajya Sabha from amongst persons having special knowledge or the practical experience in literature, science, art and social service. He can nominate 2 members to the Lok Sabha from Anglo-Indian Committee. He decides on question as to disqualification of member of the parliament in consultation with the election commission. His prior recommendation or the permission is needed to introduce certain types of bill in the parliament. For example, a bill involving expenditure for the Consolidated Fund of India, or a bill for a alteration of boundaries of the state or creation of new state. So the creation of new state and the alteration of boundary, all the rights are reserved with the president. So these are the certain legislative powers. Along with that, different other powers, when the bill is sent to the president after it has been passed by the parliament, he can give his assent to the bill, or withhold his assent to the bill, or return the bill for a reconsideration of the parliament. However, if the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendment, the president has to give his assent to the bill. When a bill passed by the state legislature is reviewed by the governor of consideration of the president, then the president can give his assent to the bill, withdraw his assent to the bill, or direct the governor to return the bill, or is not a money bill for a reconsideration of state legislature. So in case of state legislature, president are also having the right to direct the governor to return the bill. It should not be not here that it is not obligatory for the president to give his assent even if the bill again passed by the state legislature is sent again to him for his consideration. He can promulgate ordinance when the parliament is not in session. Then the ordinance must be approved by the parliament within the 6 weeks from its assembly. He can also withdraw an ordinance at any time. He lay the report of the comptroller and auditor general, Union Public Service Commission, Finance Commission and other before the parliament. He can make a regulation for the peace, progress and good governance of the Andaman Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. In this case of Puducherry also the president can legislate by making a regulation, but only when the assembly is suspended or dissolved. Then financial powers. The financial powers and the function of the presidents are: money bill can be introduced in the parliament with his prior recommendation. He causes it to be laid before the parliament on the annual financial statement, that is union budget. No demand for the grant can be made except on his recommendation. He can make the advances out of the contingencies fund of the India to meet any unforeseen expenditure. He constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years to recommend the distribution of revenue between the center and states. As far as the judicial powers are concerned, president having the power and functions of that he appoints a chief justice and judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. He can seek the advice from the Supreme Court on any question of the law or fact. However, the advice tendered by the Supreme Court is not binding on the president. He can grant pardon, reprieve, respite and remission of the punishment, or suspend, unite or commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offences, like in all cases where punishment or sentence is by a court martial, in all cases where the punishment or sentence is for an offence against the union law, and in all cases where sentence is the sentence of the death. So under these circumstances, the president can give the remission of the punishment, suspend, remit and commute the sentence of any person. Then diplomatic powers. International treaties and the agreement are negotiated and concluded on behalf of president. However, they subject to the approval of the parliament. He represents the India in international forum and affair and send and receive the diplomats like ambassador, high commissioner and so on. Whereas the military powers like he is the supreme commander of the defense force of India. Please keep in mind that the president is supreme power or the supreme commander of the defense force. In that capacity, he appoints the chief of the army, the navy and the air force. He can declare a war or conclude the peace, subject to the approval of the parliament. In case of emergency power, in addition to the normal power mentioned above, the constitution confers the extraordinary powers on the president to deal with the following three types of emergencies, that is national emergency, president's rule and the financial emergency. Then the special power, that is veto power of the president. Let us see what is meant by the veto power. A bill passed by the parliament can become an act only if it receives the assent of the president. When such a bill is presented to the president for his assent, he has three alternatives. First, he may give his assent to the bill, he may withhold his assent to the bill, and he may return the bill for reconsideration of parliament. However, if the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendment and again presented to the president must give his assent to the bill. Thus, the president has the veto power over the bill passed by the parliament. That is, he can withdraw his assent to the bill. The object of conferring this power on the president is twofold. First is, it prevents the hasty and ill consideration legislation by the parliament and to prevent the legislation which may be unconstitutional. The veto power enjoyed by the executives in mode of state can be classified into the following four types. First is absolute veto, that is withholding of assent to the bill passed by the legislature. Then second is qualified veto, which can be overridden by the legislature with the higher majority. Suspensive veto, which can be overridden by the legislature with the ordinary majority. And the pocket veto, that is taking no action on the bill passed by the legislature. The president of the India is vested with the three veto, that is absolute veto, suspensive veto and pocket veto. So our president of India is having three vetoes: absolute, suspensive and pocket veto. Thank you for watching.